What if I told you there's a secret prophetic timeline hidden on the back of a $1 bill? Seriously. In this explainer, we're going to decode an incredibly detailed theory that connects ancient scripture to the money you have sitting in your wallet right now. So that's the big question we're tackling. The core idea here is that this everyday object, something we see all the time, actually holds a profound mystery, a key to an ancient timeline. Let's see if we can unlock it together. All right, let's dive right in. The whole theory kicks off with the Great Seal right there on the back of the dollar. Now, according to the author we're looking at, this isn't just some national symbol. It's a prophetic clock, and it's supposedly counting down to a very, very specific moment in time. But to get how this prophetic clock is supposed to work, we have to find its main gear, so to speak. And the source for this theory finds it nearly 2,000 years ago in this pretty cryptic phrase from the book of Revelation. This phrase, a time and times and a half a time. Well, that's the engine that drives this entire idea. So how in the world do you turn those words into an actual number? Well, the author provides a very specific way to decode it, arguing this isn't about just a few years, but a much, much longer period. And it all starts with defining one single word, time. And here it is. This is really the linchpin of the entire calculation. The author defines one prophetic time not as 1 year, but as 430 years. Now, this number isn't just pulled out of thin air. It's drawn from the book of Ezekiel, which describes a symbolic punishment for Israel and Judah totaling 430 days, which is then interpreted here as 430 years. So it's a way of linking this New Testament prophecy directly back to the Old Testament. Okay, so if one time equals 430 years, we now have the key we need to do the math. Let's break down exactly how this mysterious phrase from Revelation gets translated into one specific number. So let's just walk through this. Step 1, a time, singular, is 430 years. Got it. Step 2, times, plural, is interpreted here as 3 of those units, which gives us 1,290 years. And step 3, half a time, well, that's pretty simple. It's 215 years. You add all 3 of those parts together, and you get this exact number, 1,935. So the crucial point to remember is that a time, times, and half a time translates, in this very specific system, to 1,935 years. Okay, but a timeline needs a starting point, right? The author chooses the year 81 AD. Why? Well, that was the year the Roman Emperor Domitian began a really severe persecution of Christians. According to this theory, that's when the clock started ticking. So if you add our 1,935-year period to that start date, the prophetic clock stops in the year 2016. So why is the year 2016 so important? This is where the whole theory circles right back to the $1 bill. The author claims this is absolutely not a coincidence, because the pyramid on the Great Seal allegedly calculates to the exact same year. Now check this out. Here's the second parallel calculation. The pyramid on the seal has the year 1776 at its base. In the author's system, each of the 12 levels of stone represents 20 years, for a total of 240 years. You add that to 1776 and where do you land? Once again, on 2016. The theory basically presents this as 2 totally different paths that lead to the exact same destination. So with these 2 timelines both pointing to 2016, the theory now starts to build a case for why the United States has a special, even central role in this entire prophetic narrative. The source material draws this really direct parallel. In the story from Revelation, the woman, who is said to represent God's people, is fleeing persecution. The author identifies Old World Europe as the place of persecution, kind of like ancient Egypt, and the New World, America, as the wilderness, the place of refuge. And to support this whole idea, the author highlights this very specific imagery from the verse, the great eagle that helps the woman escape. This is presented as the definitive clue. And of course, what's the most prominent national symbol of the United States? The great eagle. This visual link from the ancient biblical text straight to the dollar bill is presented by the author as confirmation, proof that America is the prophesied wilderness, the ultimate place of refuge. So, with all these connections made, the 1935, the year 2016, and the role of America, the author then lays out a complete timeline of what they believe will happen next, all starting from that key year. This timeline lays out a pretty precise sequence of events. It's said to begin in 2016 with something called Daniel's final week, a key 7-year prophetic period. This then leads to the establishment of an invisible kingdom in 2023, followed by the start of a new spiritual living temple, and it all culminates, according to this theory, in a visible second coming in the year 2034. A timeline this detailed, though, leads to an even bigger question. I mean, what's the grand purpose behind all of this? According to the author, it all centers on the true identity of the people involved in this story. And this is where the theory presents its most, startling conclusion. It's a big idea that aims to unify all these different threads by completely redefining the identity of Christians all around the world. So here's the grand unifying idea. The author posits that modern Christians are the literal genetic descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. From this point of view, when Jesus told his disciples to become fishers of men, he was literally instructing them to go find these scattered tribes. Therefore, the final prophetic gathering isn't just a spiritual event. It's a physical, literal return of these descendants to Israel, a lineage the author believes will eventually be proven by DNA testing. Scripture like this from Galatians is used to support that claim. Now, while this is traditionally interpreted as a spiritual adoption into God's family, this theory reads Abraham's seed as a literal, physical ancestry. The argument becomes that Christians are heirs not just by faith, but by a direct, traceable bloodline. And so we end right back where we started. From a few cryptic words in an ancient text to a complex set of calculations on a dollar bill, this theory weaves a truly remarkable story. It suggests that a symbol we see every single day isn't just money, but a map connecting the past, the present, and a very specific predicted future. An incredibly intricate theory, all hidden in plain sight.